My mother made a fake Instagram account to convince my little sister our late dad was still alive. And the outcome was so much worse than she imagined. My dad died 2 years ago. Sudden cardiac arrest. He was healthy, in his early 50s, a gym rat, barely drank, didn't smoke, and one morning he just didn't wake up. I was 22 at the time, in college and halfway through finals when I got the call from my mom. I barely remember the next few hours. Just the sound of my sister screaming when I told her. She was 10. Yeah, 10. He was her whole world. I mean, he was mine too, but it's different when you're a little kid and your dad is still your hero, still the guy who picks you up and puts you on his shoulders and makes pancakes in funny shapes. She was shattered in a way that adults just don't break. And my mom, well, she didn't fall apart. She got weird. Like immediately. I expected grief. I expected breakdowns. But she got quiet. Cold, almost. Not right away, she cried at the funeral, said all the right things. But a week later she started acting like she wanted to erase it. My dad's name was barely mentioned. His clothes were packed away. His pictures came down from the walls. She started talking about moving forward like the man she'd been married to for 15 years had just gone on a long business trip. The worst part? She never talked to my sister about what happened. No therapy, no honest conversations. Just told her, Daddy's watching from heaven, and left it at that. But my sister, let's call her Emma, she didn't stop asking. Where's he? Why can't I hear him? Can he send a message? She started leaving notes in her room addressed to Daddy. Birthday cards. Even drawings of things they'd do when he came back. And instead of helping her accept the truth, my mom leaned into it. Said things like, he'll always be with you, but with this weird look in her eyes. Not comforting. Just off. Then one day, Emma stopped crying as much. She stopped asking questions. She seemed okay. I should have been relieved. I was relieved. But I didn't ask why. I didn't want to jinx it. Until I caught her giggling at her tablet one night. We were watching TV and she was sitting on the floor texting someone. I asked who it was. She hesitated and said, Dad. I laughed like it was a game. You mean, like imaginary texts? She looked up at me with this weird proud smile and said, no. He is Instagram now. I froze. What do you mean? She said, Daddy made a secret account to talk to me. Mommy says we can't tell anyone because it might make people sad. My heart dropped. I asked her to show me. She hesitated but eventually opened up the account. It was called Just Your Dad. The profile pic was a blurry photo of my dad from a few years back. It only followed one account, Emma's. The bio said, always watching out for my little girl Reheart. And the DMs. Oh my God, the DMs. There were dozens of messages all written in this overly cheerful tone. Stuff like, hey sweetheart. Daddy misses you so much. I'm so proud of you. Heaven's a nice place, but not as cool as watching you play soccer. Mommy says I should stay hidden so nobody gets jealous, but I'll always be here for you. I felt like I couldn't breathe. The emojis. The gifs. The stickers. All of it crafted to sound like it was from a dad just checking in from beyond the grave. And then I knew. I knew it in my bones. This wasn't some stranger. It wasn't a weird AI chatbot or a sick troll. This was my mother. She had created a fake Instagram account pretending to be our dead father and was texting my little sister like it was normal. I told Emma I'd be right back and went to the garage where my mom was folding laundry. I didn't ease into it. I just said, you made a fake account pretending to be Dad, didn't you? She blinked at me like I'd asked if she wanted coffee. Then, in the calmest voice possible, she said she was hurting. I had to do something. I don't remember raising my voice right away. I remember just standing there, staring at her, waiting for her to crack. But she didn't. She just kept folding socks like I hadn't just accused her of something completely deranged. You catfished your own daughter. Using Dad's face. Using his voice. She needed comfort, she said, not even looking up. Therapists charge hundreds for what I gave her for free. My jaw locked. It's not therapy, Mom. It's delusion. You lied to her. She thinks Dad is still talking to her. She thinks he's alive in some secret way. Finally, she stopped folding. Set the sock down real gentle like it was fragile glass. Then she turned to me. You think she could have handled the truth? You think at 10 years old she needed to hear about heart attacks and coffins and decay? She needed hope and I gave her that. No, I snapped. You gave her you in disguise. That's not hope. That's manipulation. She took a deep breath like I was the one being irrational. I never said he was alive. I said he's watching. She interpreted it her own way. Kids have imagination. I wanted to laugh. Or scream. Or both. You said, and I quote, Daddy made a secret account to talk to you. That's not imagination. That's you. Lying. Every day. She looked at me like I was the ungrateful one. She's been smiling again. Drawing again. Sleeping through the night. How dare you try to take that away from her? I think that's when I lost it. I slammed my fist against the dryer, rattling the detergent bottles. Because it's built on a lie. You're setting her up for something way worse. What happens when she's 13 and still waiting for Ghost Dad to like her selfies? My mom stepped back. I think it was the first time she looked scared of me. Not physically, I'd never lay a hand on her, but scared because her perfect little coping fantasy was finally cracking. Then she started crying. But not like a grieving widow. No, it was this martyr cry. You don't understand. I lost him too. I had no one. Do you know what it's like to go to bed every night next to an empty pillow? I wanted to scream, I was his son too, but I just stood there shaking. Because it hit me right then she hadn't made the account for Emma. Not really. She'd made it for herself. She couldn't bear the silence in the house, the way everything felt hollow, the way her own daughter sobbed herself to sleep. So she created an illusion. A digital puppet. My father reanimated in emojis and pre-saved gifs. You think you did something noble, I said, quieter now. But you broke something that can't be fixed. She didn't respond. Just wiped her eyes and walked out like I had hurt her. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Emma, about the look on her face when she told me about the account. The happiness. The trust. And it made me sick to know what it would do to her if she found out. I checked the messages again. Read them from the beginning. Some were innocent. But then I saw stuff that chilled me. Don't tell your brother. He might not understand. It's our little secret. Mommy is the only one who knows. She helped me get this account. She was actively teaching Emma to keep it hidden. She turned grief into a conspiracy. The next morning, I packed a bag and drove to stay with my uncle for a few days. He's my dad's brother, a good man, one of the only relatives who hadn't gotten weird after the funeral. I told him everything. Showed him the account. He looked like someone had punched him in the gut. She needs help, he said after a long silence. This isn't just grief. This is delusional. I nodded. What do I do about Emma? He rubbed his eyes. We talk to a professional first. Someone who understands trauma. Then we figure out how to tell her, gently. But we have to stop this. Because no matter how much my mom claimed it was for love, the truth is, love without truth becomes poison. And we were all drinking from the same cup. I wish I could tell you we handled it perfectly. That we consulted the right experts, made a plan, had a smooth intervention with tissues and soft voices and professional guidance. But life doesn't wait for your perfect plan. 3 days after I told my uncle, Emma found out on her own. And it was so much worse than I ever imagined. My mom had left her phone charging in the kitchen while she was outside gardening. Emma was supposed to be doing homework, but apparently she got bored and wandered in. She wanted to send Dad a drawing she made, something she'd worked on all morning. A rainbow with 3 stick figures under it. Her, me, and Dad. Notably, not Mom. When she picked up the phone, the Instagram app was already open. She recognized the profile picture immediately. She was probably excited at first. Thought maybe Dad had messaged again. But instead, she saw the account open in her mom's app, the messages, the drafts, the saved stickers. All of it. Out in the open. She scrolled up. Realized the last message Dad sent had been typed just minutes ago, but from Mom's phone. I was upstairs when it happened. I heard the scream. Not a startled yelp, a deep, broken, howling scream that sent me flying down the stairs 2 at a time. Emma was on the floor. Knees pulled into her chest. Holding Mom's phone like it was burning her. She lied. She was sobbing. He's not real. She lied. Mommy lied. Daddy's dead. I froze in the doorway. It was like watching someone's world implode in real time. Her face was red, snot and tears pouring, fists clenched around that little phone like it had betrayed her personally. And in a way it had. My mom came running in behind me, hands covered in dirt. What happened? Emma spun on her, eyes wide and raw. You pretended to be Daddy. That silence was the longest 2 seconds of my life. Then Mom said softly, baby, I was just trying to. No. Emma screamed. You lied. Every time I told you I missed him, you lied to me. She threw the phone across the room. It hit the wall and cracked. My mom rushed toward her, but Emma pulled back like she'd been burned. And God, I just stood there. I didn't know whether to hug her or scream at Mom or fall apart myself. All I could do was kneel down beside her and whisper, I'm so sorry. I didn't know she'd do that. You didn't deserve this. Emma looked at me like I was the only thing keeping her tethered to the ground. And then she whispered, I thought he was still watching. I thought he could see me. I broke. Right there, in front of her. I cried like I hadn't since the funeral. I pulled her close and rocked her like Dad used to. She cried so hard she hiccuped. She kept repeating, I hate her, I hate her, I hate her. Mom tried to speak again, but I turned and said, not now. You don't get to talk. You did this. She backed away like I'd slapped her. The next day, I called the therapist my uncle recommended. Got Emma in for an emergency session. It's a trauma specialist, someone who deals with kids processing grief and betrayal. She's been seeing them weekly since. Mom tried to apologize. She wrote letters, left notes, even tried baking cookies like that would somehow balance out the emotional Molotov she'd thrown into her daughter's heart. Emma didn't speak to her for 2 weeks. She stayed in my room. I drove her to school. I packed her lunch. I read to her at night. In those 2 weeks, I became more of a parent than my mom had been in the last 2 years. Eventually, the therapist suggested a supervised joint session. Emma agreed. Mom sat across from her and said, I just wanted to keep a piece of him alive. Emma, still clutching a stress ball the therapist gave her, looked her dead in the eye and said, you didn't keep him alive. You replaced him with you pretending to be him. Even the therapist looked stunned by that. Mom tried to cry again, but Emma didn't flinch this time. She was done giving sympathy to someone who weaponized love. Since then, Emma's gotten better. Slowly, carefully, but she doesn't trust easily anymore. She doesn't believe in happy endings the way she used to. And our mom? She lost something that day too. And I don't think she even realizes how deep the damage goes. You know what they never tell you? That grief doesn't just change people, it distorts them. Warps the shape of your heart until you don't even recognize who's standing in your own reflection. My mom used to be the type of woman who remembered everyone's birthdays, who left sticky notes in our lunchboxes, who'd cry at animal shelter commercials. But after Dad died, it was like someone rewrote her from the inside out. The day after Emma's session, I sat in the kitchen with my mom while Emma was at school. She looked like a balloon someone had forgotten to tie. A sagging mess of regret, desperation, and denial. She doesn't even look at me anymore, she whispered. I didn't sugarcoat it. She's scared of you. Mom flinched. I was trying to help. No, I said, leveling my voice. You were trying to avoid your own pain, and you dragged her into a fantasy because you didn't want to sit in the dark alone. She's 10, she said. She needed something to believe in. No, I snapped. She needed you. The real you. Not some emoji-riddled ghost account. She broke down crying again, and I felt nothing. No urge to comfort her. Just this dull ache in my chest that I'd felt ever since I found out. That dull, growing realization that my family was never going to be the same again. A few days later, Emma asked me, was she always like this? That question gutted me, because I wanted to say no. I wanted to tell her that Mom used to be warm, dependable, stable. But the truth is, even before Dad died, there were cracks. She was always the one who smoothed things over, who acted like everything was fine, who didn't talk about feelings so much as cover them with casseroles and awkward smiles. Dad was the emotional rock, the one who asked how our days were, who noticed when Emma had a bad dream or when I'd gotten quiet again during finals. And without him, we were rudderless. Emma started keeping a notebook, the therapist's idea, a place where she could write letters to Dad. Real ones, her own words, not a fake reply from beyond the grave. She'd sit on her bed and scribble for hours. Sometimes she'd read them to me. One night she read, I miss you so much it feels like my chest is caving in. I hate that I can't remember the sound of your laugh. And I hate that Mom turned you into a lie. I didn't know what to say, so I just sat beside her. That's something I learned. Sometimes love isn't fixing the pain. The sitting in it with them. Meanwhile, the school counselor called. Emma had told a friend about the ghost Instagram, and it got around. Some kids thought it was cool, but others made fun of her, called her creepy, said her dad was haunting her. She came home in tears. I swear to God, I saw red. I wanted to drive straight to that school and rip some parents apart. But I didn't. I just hugged her and told her it wasn't her fault. It was never her fault. We decided to switch schools the following semester. A fresh start. New district, new friends. My uncle helped with logistics. He even offered to let us stay in his guest house if things got tense with Mom. And they did get tense. See, Mom couldn't let go of the illusion. Even after Emma found out, she kept talking like Dad was still around. She'd say things like, "He would have loved that sunset," or "Your father's probably laughing at this from heaven." And look, I get it. We all grieve differently. But coming from her, it felt manipulative, like she still wanted Emma to play along. Eventually I told her, "You can talk about missing him, but if you talk like he's still here, you're reopening wounds that haven't even scabbed over." She nodded, but I don't think she really heard me. Emma stayed cold toward her. She wouldn't speak more than a sentence at a time, wouldn't eat at the same table, wouldn't let her brush her hair or pack her lunch. That stuff all fell to me. At one point, Mom cornered me in the hallway and said, "You're turning her against me." I just looked at her. "No, you did that. I'm just trying to pick up the pieces." And maybe that's the hardest part. The way I had to step up. I'm only 24 now. I didn't sign up to be a surrogate parent, a part-time therapist, and a full-time emotional buffer. I put grad school on hold. I left my internship. I live paycheck to paycheck, and I'm not even mad about it. Because Emma needs me. Because someone had to be the adult in the house. There's this moment in grief where the numbness fades, but the pain doesn't. You're just awake in it. No more shock. No more fog. Just raw awareness that this is your life now. No father. No childhood left. No going back. Emma hit that point a few weeks after the fallout. She stopped crying. Stopped asking questions. And honestly, that scared me more than the sobbing. Because that's when the damage sets in deeper, quiet, and invisible, like rot in the beams of a house that still looks whole on the outside. She started sleeping with the light on. Wouldn't let me close her bedroom door. I found her Googling things like, "Do ghosts know when you stop believing in them?" and "Can dead people feel disappointed?" That last one wrecked me. She thought she was betraying Dad by finding out the truth. And all the while, Mom kept trying to fix it with forced cheerfulness. "I made pancakes. Like Daddy used to." Or "Let's go to the park like we used to with your father." Emma would just blink at her, silent, like she was staring at a stranger impersonating someone she used to know. It came to a head the day Mom tried to make her a birthday card from Dad. She left it on Emma's pillow. Handwritten. In the same weird tone as the fake Instagram. Hearts in the margins. "Daddy loves you forever" in slanted cursive. There was even a line that said, "I'm so proud of how strong you've been, Munchkin. Keep smiling for me." Emma brought it to me and said, deadpan, "She's doing it again." I took the card, walked straight into the living room, and tossed it into the fireplace. Mom looked up from her book like I'd slapped her. "You don't get to use him anymore," I said. She stood up. "It was just a card." I was trying to. "No," I cut her off. "You were trying to glue the lie back together with glitter. That's not healing. That's denial. And I'm done letting you drag Emma through it." Her face hardened. "I'm her mother. And I'm the one raising her now," I said. "You want a relationship with her? Fine. But it's on her terms. Not yours. And if you cross this line again, if you pretend to be him even once more, we're gone." Her mouth opened and closed like she wanted to argue, but something in my face must have stopped her. Because for the first time since Dad died, she actually backed down. After that, I had to make it official. I took over all school communications. Put myself as Emma's emergency contact. Called the counselor and explained everything in honest terms, no euphemisms, no soft language. Just the truth. My mom created a fake online identity pretending to be our dead father and manipulated my grieving sister for almost a year. They were stunned. And supportive. And immediately flagged Emma's file for extra attention from the school psychologist. My uncle offered again to let us move in. And this time I said yes. We packed up that weekend while Mom was out. Emma didn't say much, just held my hand the whole time like she thought if she let go, it would all fall apart again. When we got to Uncle Jay's place, she asked, "Is this forever?" I knelt down and said, "It's for as long as we need it to be." She nodded. And for the first time in weeks, she let out a breath that didn't end in a sob. We've been living there for 6 months now. Emma's got her own room. A dog named Biscuit who sleeps on her bed. She's seeing the therapist regularly. Her new school is smaller, quieter. No one there knows about the Instagram account. She gets to be normal again. Mom still calls. Sends long, rambling texts. Most of them start with, "I was just thinking about," and end with some form of guilt or justification. I read them. I don't respond. Emma doesn't ask about her anymore. One day she will. And when she does, I'll tell her the truth. All of it. Not to poison her against our mother, but because she deserves a version of her life that wasn't edited with fairy tales and fake messages. Sometimes, at night, I sit on the porch and wonder what Dad would have thought about all this. About how everything cracked apart. About how I became the parent, the protector, the barrier between my sister and the worst parts of our own family. And all I can hope is that wherever he is, he knows I'm doing my best.